today's lesson. In this lesson, we'll be talking about getting started with CSS. This is a very broad topic, and therefore we have subtopics under this, which means we are going to have one of our longest videos or lessons today. So let's prepare adequately for that. So let's begin. We'll create a file, an HTML file, of course, and we'll call it tutorials, okay, or let me call it tutor.html. It doesn't really make sense though, but it is okay here. Once it will be able to serve the purpose for which it was created, we are good to go. So let's continue. We'll go into our browser and view it, and you can see that it is empty. It is empty. So first of all, we'll add up some skin to the skeleton that we already have here. Okay, let's add some skin to the skeleton. So the first skin that we will be adding is our h1 element, which is the main topic or the main heading, which is getting started with CSS. Okay, that's great. So let's go back now and see it is working. So getting started with CSS. Please, there is something that I would want to emphasize here. Whenever you are given an assignment and you are told or there is a mentioning of the main heading or main topic or whatsoever be it, if it is in web development and web design, then I will advise you to note clearly, crystal clear, that the person or the assignment refers to the H1 element. So you take note of that. Okay, so that's our main topic for today. Okay, so let's move on. Then the subtopic under this that we will be talking of, the subtopics under this, let's give them H2 elements. And the first one is adding CSS to HTML, okay, or adding CSS to your document. There are three main methods in doing this, but the most relevant one and the most important one and the most recommended one is called an external method. We'll come to the other two later on. If you know two, good for you, but for now we'll just start with the external method. Okay, the external method requires that you write a separate file in the CSS language, and you give it some styling that will apply to your HTML files or file, whichever one that you would want it to apply. So let's say if I create an external file, which is a CSS file, whichever HTML file that I link my external CSS file to, it will have effect. The other method that we'll be looking at in future lessons or videos, in those methods or with those methods, you wouldn't be able to use that same styling for different files. It is only applicable to the file in which it is located. So please, you take key note. That's why we do recommend the external method or the external way of writing a CSS file and linking it to all HTML files or documents or pages that you would want to apply them to. So let's go back to our styles folder, which I believe by now you have them. Our styles folder, it is empty now. Then we'll create a file, a CSS file, and we call it tutor.css, just to bring some cohesion between our HTML file and this one. Okay, so tutor, let's go inside tutor. I don't need this, you as well, so we'll have to get rid of it. Okay, so let's get rid of this. I would want to apply just a basic coloration to my h1 or my main heading. I hope by now you understand what the main heading means. Okay, so let's go straight away, and I'll call on color, the color property, and I would like to change that one to red. Okay, so I hope you understand these things. If you don't worry. When we tackle other topics, you understand them better. But I'm sure by now you should understand these basic things. Okay, so let's go back to our HTML file, tutor.html. Going into the browser, still give us our main heading in the color black, which is the default color. Why? Because there is no communication between the file that we just created, our CSS file to be specific, and our HTML file. So we'll have to give it a communication, a way for it to communicate with our HTML file, and we do so by using the link element. Okay, so the link element, you have some attributes and some values in the link element. That's the opening tag of the link element. You should take note, the link element is an empty element, which means it has an opening tag alone. It has no content and it has no closing tag. So you take key note of this. So we'll now link our tutor.css with this guy, tutor.html. Okay, so it is tutor.css. I hope you do understand what I'm doing. If you don't, I would recommend you watch our previous videos for a better understanding. It is very important you do understand these basic things. If you don't, then there is no need you going forward with this tutorial. Go back and watch it. So now let's view it in our browser and see if our main heading, which is h1, would be in the red color. But we are still having the black color. Why? I haven't refreshed my browser. Let me refresh it. That's it. So it is working now. So we can see that our main heading is now in red. So this is basically a way of the external method that we just talked about. External method requires that you write a separate CSS file in the CSS language, and you link the two. Okay, that's the HTML file or document or the web page that you would want to apply that styling to. Okay, so in this case we've done that. So adding CSS to HTML is now covered. As I said earlier, there are 3 methods, but in this video and lesson we are only talking about the most recommended and the most relevant one. The others will come up later on in our future videos. Okay, so let's continue with the next subtopic. The next subtopic says styling HTML elements. Styling HTML elements is basically what we've done so far. It's basically what we've done so far. Okay, so as you can see, we are able to style our HTML element in this case, which is h1. When we started, the color was black. Now we have changed it to red. So we've been able to style it. Okay, we've been able to style it. If better still you would want us to tackle it, it is no problem. Let's go back to our styles folder and our tutor.css and try and add some other properties here. So in this case we'll be using our text align property, which will help us to put our text on the appropriate part of the page that we want it to be. Okay, so in this case I'll call it to be at the center, which is the most recommended and the most useful one here. So let's see. Previously, okay, when we go back and load our file, you will understand it better. Okay, so let me go tutor, then okay, so you see that getting started is now separated. It is starting from the left hand side of the screen and the right hand side of the screen. It is occupying the same space. Okay, so appropriately we call Later on, you understand this. But for now, we have just aligned the main heading to the what center of our page or the middle of our page. Okay, so that's basically one thing. Let's continue. So we have tackled styling HTML elements as well. The next subtopic that we'll be talking of here is called um, changing the default behavior of elements. Okay, so I will give it H2, and there we go. Let me give it all in caps. Okay, is it appropriate? No, you let me changing the default behavior of elements. Let me use caps here, of elements. So this are next subtopic, changing the default behavior of elements. What does this subheading want to portray or want to pass out to us? Okay, we know that the browsers that we use, we call them user agents in some cases. Okay, the browsers that we use, I mean the web browsers that we use to present our files to our users, they have some basic styling that they give to all elements inside of our HTML file. Okay, so for instance, when I write I write a heading, you see that the heading is separated from the rest of the content. Okay, so if I have a heading and I have a paragraph, you see that the heading is separated apart. It is apart. It is separated from the rest of the paragraph. So the heading stands on its own line and a paragraph falls also on its own line. This is a basic styling that the web browser is giving our HTML file. It is not something that was there or something like that. It was by the doing of our web browsers. Sometimes the way the browsers style things, we might not need them in the situations that we are in, and it might not serve the purpose that we would want it to serve. So sometimes we'll have to change these default stylings that our web browsers or our, yes, let me call it our web browsers for now, or our user agents give to our HTML files or document, or the way we want our thing to be. Okay, so this is what this subtopic seems or want to pass out to you guys. So let's see it here. Okay, so changing the default behavior. So for instance, if you take a list for an example, or list, if it is an ordered list, you will see that there is a default bulletin. I wouldn't write that much here. I will just be writing some few things for an explanation. Okay, sorry, just for explanation, I'll write some few things here. Okay, then let's go. The next list item is what? 2. I hope you know what these things are for. If you don't know them by now, then I think maybe you are lost and you need to be found. We need to find some great guys or giants to find you in the bush. So let's see what will be the outcome of this. All unordered list items by default are given some bulletin. Sometimes this bulletin might not be needed. So let's see. Okay, let me refresh it. You see, these bulletin are not necessary. 1, then we have a bullet, that's what, a shaded circle. 2, then sometimes you might not need this bulletin, or sometimes you might want to change this bulletin, which will come to in our later videos. But let's say if we don't need this bulletin, you know that whenever you are making you are making a navigation tab or a navigation menu, you use what? Unordered list to do it. So if you use unordered list as nesting your anchor element inside of the list item, which is also inside the unordered list element, then you wouldn't need this default what behavior that our web browser is giving to these things or these items. So let's go to our style now and change this default behavior. Okay, our style folder and tutor.css is what we have there. Okay, so first of all, we'll call on the element that has what the list items, which is li in this case, and we'll give it some. Then we'll give it list style, which is we'll make it none. The list style is just a property to control whether you need a list style or not. So we have list style type and other stuff we'll come to later. The list style is just a shorthand. So we are setting everything to none. Okay, setting everything to none will now give us our expected output. We don't need a bulletin, and that's the reason why we set list style to what? None. So let's see. You see that the bulletin has disappeared. It has disappeared. This is what we mean by changing the default behavior of what elements. So you see that sometimes paragraphs will all be on their own. They will be different from each other. They will fall on a new line and other stuff. We can change that way, or that styling too, which we'll get to know in our later videos or future videos. Okay, so for now we have been able to change the basic bulletin that our web browsers give to our list items, which in this case we don't need. The next thing that we'll be talking of here is, where is this guy? Okay, h2, and we are good to go. It says adding what? Adding class to HTML. Adding class to HTML. What are classes? How many paragraphs do you have in your document? You might have as many as possible depending on the content of your web page. Okay, so let's say if I'm writing about Ghana, you can imagine the number of paragraphs that I might have in my web page. You see, sometimes you would want to give some specific styling to one paragraph, and that styling should be unique and separate. Okay, it should be unique and separate from other paragraphs. So for instance, let's give maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs here, so we'll get to know what I mean. I am paragraph, let me say I am paragraph 1. I am paragraph 1. So we are done. Then we'll go on to the next one. It says I'm paragraph what? 2. I am paragraph 2. I am paragraph 2. Okay, let's go on. I am the next paragraph. It says what? You are paragraph 3, right? Okay, I've heard you. I am paragraph 3. Paragraph 3. Okay, so let's view it here. Let's refresh. We are good to go. So I am paragraph 1, I am paragraph 2, paragraph 3. Let's go back to our CSS. So we'll go to our styles folder and tutor.css. By the time we finish this, you would have more CSS over here, or declarations or whatsoever that you will call it over here. Okay, so P, and let's say I want blue. I want my paragraph to be blue. Maybe I want the second paragraph to be blue. Okay, the second paragraph to be blue. So let's see. Let me give it color, and we call it what? Blue. Okay, that's my second paragraph only. I want my second paragraph only to be blue. So let's see if that's really the case. So I am paragraph 2. I want that one only to be blue. So let's see. Which is not working here. I have all the paragraphs in blue because why is this happening? Okay, which of these are not paragraphs? I have paragraph 1 is a paragraph, and paragraph 2 is a paragraph, and paragraph 3 is a paragraph. So if I go into my CSS and I call on paragraph or the P element or whatsoever be it, okay, the paragraph and it or tag name. Okay, so if I call on the tag name of the paragraph element and I apportion some styling to it, don't you think it's appropriate to be applied to all the paragraphs over here? Because in effect, in reality, they are all what? Paragraphs. They are all paragraphs. But I don't need this. Maybe I just, as I said earlier on, I just need only my paragraph 2. Only my paragraph 2. Where is it? Paragraph 2 to have this color blue. So I'll call it class. That's where classes become what? Important. Very, very important. Okay, class. Then I'll give it the value 2 just for this. Okay, but let's see. It's still giving me the output as blue. Refreshing it many times doesn't change this. Still giving me blue. Let me refresh it again. No, it's still blue. So what is happening? Okay, so let's go back to our styles folder. And okay, so let's say all our paragraphs are now blue. Maybe I would want to give my second paragraph another color. In this case, I'll use this and column 2. What am I doing? I'm styling only second paragraph. I gave it what? A class value of 2. A class value of 2. The class is an attribute. The 2 that we pass in is a value. I know you know these things by now. When we treated HTML elements, anatomy of HTML elements, I hope you got to understand these things better. Okay, then I'll move on and pass on my declaration. Okay, sorry, 1, 2. Then color. Maybe I should give this a color of blue violet. Blue violet. Yes, it. Okay, blue violet. So it means that all the colors will be all the paragraphs will be blue except paragraph 2 if this thing is to work. Okay, except paragraph 2. Okay, so let's go HTML, the tutor.html. Let's view it now and see. I hope you can see. So I am paragraph 2 is in a different color from the rest. So what are we trying to say here? Adding a class to your HTML helps you to target a specific element from each group of elements. Okay, so for instance, if I add a class to maybe my paragraph element, in this case I am targeting that element and I would be able to call on only that paragraph, only that paragraph or only that element, and I'll be able to give it a style that I want. This is the importance of what? Class, or giving a class to what? Your HTML element. I hope you are getting it. For instance, if I have, as I said earlier on, now we have what? Adding CSS to HTML, changing the default behavior of elements, and adding class to HTML. These are all what? Okay, let's go back here so that you understand them better. How many H2 elements do you have here? So we have the first one, the second one, and the third one. Okay, if I want to change getting started with CSS only, then I'll have to give if I want to change adding CSS to HTML only, even though it is what? An H2 element, as well as changing the default behavior of element is also H2 element. If I want to make specific changes, to adding CSS to HTML, then I will have to, I hope you are listening, then I will have to give this H2 element that I would want to apply the changes to a class, and I'll have to give it a value. The value, I have to make this thing very specific. The value, if you are starting and you don't start right, please, you'll find yourself wanting in a day to come. So let me stress and emphasize this point. It is very important. The value that you give to the class, the value that you give to the class of that element should have a relation with the function or the reason or the purpose. Am I making sense? It should have a relation, a correlation with the function or the reason or the purpose for giving the class or the element a class. So for instance, if I would want my H2 element to be maybe my subtitle, then I would come here H2, then I'll give it a class and call it what? A subtitle. Okay, so the moment I go to my CSS, if I call on subtitle, I know that this H2 element is going to perform a specific role, which in this case is going to perform the role of what? Subtitle. Subtitle. So you don't just give values to your class element, your class attribute. Okay, you don't just give values, you reason about it very well. They should correlate with the reason, the purpose, the function of the value or the purpose or whatsoever be it that you are giving a specific element a class and targeting it from its constituent, okay, or its group of elements. I hope I've made myself clear. That's great. So our next subtopic that we will be tackling here is styling things based on their location in your document. Styling things based on their, let me write it here. So we are also going to give it another H2 element because it's what? A subheading. H2 element. I'm not saying you use H2 elements only for subheadings. When I started the lesson, I told you that when we talk about main heading means your H1 element. Okay, any subheading that you would want to give, you can use from H2 to H6 depending on the size that you would want that subheading to take or to be. So in this case, I said I'm giving it what? An H2 element. Okay, so styling things or elements, whatever you would want to call it. Styling things based on their location in your document, okay, your document, which is very, very important. So let's go here. Let me refresh it. Okay, so we have it here. Styling things based on their location in your document. Okay, let's come here. Let me explain this. Okay, I wouldn't go that far. To confuse you. Let me start from our body element. You see that right after our body element, that's the opening tag. Right after the opening tag of our body element is what? An H1 element. Okay, the H1 element has been nested inside of the body element. Let's see something. Let's start from the body element. You see where the less than sign of the body element start from. Check that one with the less than sign of the H1 element. That's the opening tag of the H1 element. Are they the same? No. You see that the body element less than sign is a bit far away from our less than sign of our H1 one element. Okay, this is what we call nesting. When you nest an element inside the other, it is not supposed to have the same what, the same how should I call it, the same tabbing or tab. For now, I will just have to the same space. Okay, so it should be a different, it should be on a different tab or space from its parent. Okay, so we say that the body element is the parent of the H1 element, and in fact almost everything here is a parent, is a child of, almost everything here is a child of what, our body element, as a child of our body element. I'm sure I'm making sense. Okay, so looking at this H1 and the H2, you see that they fall on the same line. This H2, just after the H1's closing tag, they fall on the same line. They are less than sign fall on the same line. Okay, we are talking about locations now, so please open your ears wide, your eyes wide. Whatever opening that you have, make sure you have enlarged its space now. Then your brains open it wide and understand this thing and understand it now with ease. Okay, so let's go. You see that all the H1s or all the H elements, however, all the heading elements, they are on what? Exactly the same line. With the first H1. Let's go. Now we come to our UL. You see that the UL is on the same line as what? The H1. The H1 and the H2 as well. By looking at the LI is not on the same line. That's the less than sign that begins the LI element. The list item element. The less than sign is not on the same line as the UL. It's not on the same line as the UL. Let me try and be highlighting them for you to see and see what I mean. Sorry. Okay, so let me come here. So you see that the highlighted UL. Then let me come here. The LI, they are not on the same line. So this is what we are talking of. So we say that this UL is a child of our what? Of our body element. Where are you guys? Okay, of our body element. Of our body elements. Sorry, let me get rid of this guy. Of our body element. Okay, then the LI here is what? A grandchild of the body element, but what? A child of the UL element. Okay, I think I've had enough explanation on this and you are understanding me. So now we are not going to give classes, we are not going to do anything. We are just going to use their locations, okay? The relationship between these elements on or in our HTML document. The relationship between them, it is very important. When we go to when we tackle the topic how CSS works, you will understand these things better. For now, I just want to give you a feel or a taste of the iceberg, just for free. I wouldn't take anything from you. I'm just giving it for free. Okay, so when we get there, you will have a deeper understanding. But if you understand it here, I bet you when we get there, it will become easier. It will become very, very easy for you. Okay, so now we are not giving any what. Let's say we want to style. We have how many H2s? We have 1. We have 2. We have 3. Okay, let me be highlighting them so that you know what I mean. No. This guy is giving me problem over here. So this is the first one. You see the first one is highlighted. Let me see the second one. Oh no. Okay, that's the second one. The second one is also highlighted. let me get here. The third one is also highlighted. I hope you are seeing it. Okay, let's move on. Then the fourth one. So how many H2 elements H2 elements do we have? We have about 4 here. I hope I'm making sense. We have about 4 here. So I want to start with the one that comes just after my what? Just after hope you are getting it. I want to start with the one that comes just after my H1. Okay, let me highlight it again so that you know what I mean. The one that just comes after this. So which one do I mean? I mean this one. I want to give it a different color. Maybe orange. Okay, so let's see how I'm going to do that. I haven't added any class to it, but I would be able to do this because of its location or its relationship with the H1 element. So let's go and see how I'm going to do this. I'm a magician by now. You will also be very soon. Okay, so I will call on my H1 first, then maybe I'll give it a space if that's necessary. I'm giving it a space just for readability. Okay, just to make my thing very readable. Then I'll call on my H2. Then we are saying that we did mention the fact that whenever you want to target a specific element from H group, you add what we call a class. Okay, but in this case I haven't added any class. I hope you are aware. I did it with you, so don't tell me I didn't. I have done this with you. Then I say I want to give it maybe the color orange, and let me close this. That's great. So let's see if it works. So what are we trying to do here? We want, where are you? Adding CSS to HTML should be in orange for us. Okay, let me come here. Let me highlight this thing again because I know some people. You see that this highlighted H2 has no class, even though there are 4 H2's elements. Okay, 4 subheading elements here. And I have used H2 over there as we did in our paragraph or the previous example. We should have all H2 in the color of orange, but now I'll have just the first one, which has the content adding CSS to HTML to be in the color orange. If it works, let's pray so. So bam. Let me refresh it. Maybe I'm not seeing it clear. Let me refresh it again. Still no. Let me refresh again. Bam. It is still only that one. Maybe the down one has changed. Let's go down. Nothing has changed here. It is only this one that has the color orange. So how did I do it? I'll get there, you understand. But for now, I would want you to take note that you would be able to style your elements or you will be able to style things based on their locations in your document. This topic is very interesting, and maybe somebody will say, I want more. No problem. Let me give you one more. Okay, let's say, okay, let me come here again. You see, we have 1, we have 2, we have 3. That's the list items. Let's say I just want the first list item here. The first list item here to be in a different color. Which color do you want? When we get there, you tell me. Don't tell me here. Okay, so let me go there and we'll do this. We'll do it. We are going to perform a magic. So we have UL. I call on my UL. What else? If I call on LI, okay, let me call on LI. Then maybe let me call on this guy, first child. Okay, and first child and maybe pass this declaration. I want only that one to be in the color, in a different color. Oh, I don't even have the colors again. No. I saw some orchid when I was given orange. Let me see if it works. Okay, orange red. Orange red will look like my red, which I don't like. So maybe the orchid might be okay. Okay, so let me go back and let me see if it works. If it doesn't, don't blame me. Okay. So I want where are my list items? One to be in a different color. You see, it is working. Hey, this guy is performing magical. The thing is working. You can see that my number one list item is in a different color from the rest. From the rest. Why am I using color? I'm using color because color is something that is very visible and you will be able to see it immediately. We all love colors, and colors are maybe one of the reasons why we live. Okay, so I will end here for now. Then we'll continue at that time later on with a more deeper note on this, so that you will understand them better. Then you would also be able to use it just any way, anyhow that you want it. Okay, so let's move on to our next subtopic. I told you that we have a lot to cover here, and this is one of the longest videos that we are going to have. Okay, so the next subtopic. So I hope we have dealt with this and you understand. If you don't cry, I won't mind you. So the next subtopic that I would want to talk about here is styling things based on their state. Today we are learning some things. So somebody is saying that styling things based on their state. Let me give this in caps so that somebody will know what I mean. So let me go refresh, and I'm there. So styling things based on their state. Each and every one. Okay. Let me take you back to science a bit of science for now. There are how many states of matter do we have? There are 3 states of matter. They are what? Liquid, solid, and gas. When you do deeper science, pure science, they will tell you there is a 3rd state, a 4th state, and we will leave that one to our science students. Okay, so our HTML elements also have state. Is it physical? Wait, do you have physical? Oh, no. State of matter? State of HTML elements? I can't think far. You can think far here. You would be able to understand these things and understand them better. So we are saying that our HTML elements also have states. They have states, and we are going to style things based on their state. Okay, based on their state. So let's see. Let's say I want to give some. No, you are not what I need. Yes, I want to maybe use some link. I don't know, where should I link to? Maybe YouTube. You like YouTube, eh? I'm sure you like YouTube. So let me see, HTTPS. Then I'll have this guy. I'll call on this. Then call www. Then YouTube. Hey, I wrote YouTube. YouTube. .com. YouTube.com. Okay. So let me go. I'll give it a test, and I'm good to go. A test. Maybe the target is not important now. this is a command I'm going to give someone. Go to YouTube now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, 4 is too many. Okay, so go to YouTube now. Okay, now let's go to our browser and see. We don't have go to YouTube now. Oh, okay, we have it now. Go to YouTube now. Now I want to make this thing. You see the default color, it is blue. I don't like blue. I want to change it. I want to change the color just like that. I want to change it. I want to make sure this is what a command. This calls for attention. So I'll give it the color gone red. The color gone red. The color red. Okay, that's it. So let's see. Style this guy, and I'll have this. It says then link. Link. Then I'm calling it. Give it maybe a nice color of red. A color red. The color red. And bam. I should get red. I should get the color red now. Okay, get into tutor.html. Bam. That's it. So the color red is working. I hope you understand. Okay, so let me come here then explain something to you. You saw that when we went to our styles folder and tutor.css, I did something. Okay, let me go there. Maybe going there would help me to explain this thing. What is? So you can see the A is what? Our anchor element. Then you have link over here. What is this? The A is assuming a different state altogether. It's not just an anchor link, but an anchor element, but it's also what? A link. The link is different. It's a different state from the rest of the element that we have in our HTML document or HTML file. Okay, and for that reason I was able to style the A. Let me give you other states that our elements would be able to assume. Okay, so other state our elements would be able to assume is when it is being hovered, when it is being clicked, when it is being activated, when it is being focused, and even more. Okay, so the state that we'll be talking of here is saying I have link, love, fear, hate. So I have link, I have visited. When it is visited, when it is unvisited, we have it over there. Okay, I have when it is focused and when it is hovered. So these are some of the states our element would be able to assume. So you take note of that. This will bring us to the end of this lesson. We have learned a lot, and it is important that we keep all these things for our own benefit. Okay, we are learning and we have learned a lot today. God bless you all. Keep watching Rose Consult. Keep sharing the link. Subscribe. Tell your friends about it. If you get a very nice, tasty food, you don't eat with both hands. Okay? If you invite someone to help you, you will finish it earlier. So please, we are telling you, Rose Consult is telling you guys to tell your friends about Rose Consult. Let them come here and learn with us. Share the link to as many people as you can for your own good. Bye bye. Stay tuned, keep learning, and stay blessed. There's more to come. There is more to come.